It was a hot Tuesday afternoon when Dona Helena Rodriguez, 73, walked into Silva & Sons Jewelry in the city center. Her gray hair was neatly styled, and she wore a simple but well-maintained navy blue outfit. In her hands, she carried a leather handbag worn with age. The jewelry store was known in the region for its refined pieces and high prices. Glistening display cases showcased diamond necklaces, Swiss watches, and gold rings that cost more than many people earned in a year. The ambience was intimidating, with marble floors and crystal chandeliers. Behind the main counter, 3 employees chatted among themselves. Marcelo, the 35-year-old manager, always impeccably dressed in a suit. Carla, a saleswoman who had worked there for 5 years, and Junior, the 19-year-old intern who had started the previous month. Dona Helena approached the counter where a set of pearl earrings and a matching necklace were displayed. The pieces were elegant, perfect for her granddaughter's wedding next month. The price was clearly marked, 3,200 Brazilian reals. "Excuse me," she said politely, "I'd like to see this pearl set up close." Carla looked her up and down, noting the simple dress, the worn bag, and the shoes that had seen better days. With an almost imperceptible sigh, she unlocked the display case and took out the set. "It's an imported piece," Carla said with a clearly disinterested tone. "Natural pearls cultivated in Japan. The price is 3,200 reais cash." Dona Helena examined the pieces carefully, feeling their weight and observing the pearly luster. They were truly beautiful. "How much would it be if I paid cash?" she asked. Carla exchanged a glance with Marcelo, who approached. "Madam, the price is already marked." "We don't give discounts," he said, crossing his arms. "But I always pay cash," Dona Helena insisted. "At other stores, I've always gotten a discount when paying cash, even if it's just 5%. Junior, who was organizing some boxes nearby, stopped to listen. There was something about the lady's dignified demeanor that impressed him. Marcelo scoffed sarcastically. "My dear lady, this isn't a department store where you haggle. Our pieces have a fixed price. If you can't afford the full amount, perhaps it would be better to look for something more suitable for your budget."
The words landed like a cold shower.
Dona Helena felt her face flush, but she maintained her composure. Carla joined the manager. "That's right. We have some simpler pieces in that display case in the corner. Perhaps that would be more compatible." Other customers in the store started to notice the situation. A well-dressed couple stopped looking at watches to observe what was happening. A woman with several shopping bags whispered something to her friend, both looking in Dona Helena's direction. "Look at this," Marcelo said, now speaking louder. "The lady is asking for a discount at a jewelry store. This isn't an open-air market, you know."
Carla laughed along.
"Exactly. We can't just give discounts to anyone who walks in here. Otherwise, it turns into a mess." Dona Helena took a deep breath. Her eyes, which had seen much of life, filled with a silent determination. "Very well," she said calmly. "I'll take the set at full price then." Marcelo and Carla exchanged surprised glances. They hadn't expected her to actually buy it.
"All right," Marcelo said, still skeptical. "That is 3,200 reais."
"How will you be paying? Card?"
"PIX."
"Cash," Dona Helena replied simply. She opened her worn handbag and, to the astonishment of everyone present, began to pull out small golden bars. Each one was about 50 grams and shone with the unmistakable luster of pure gold. The authenticity seals from the Brazilian mint were clearly visible. Silence fell in the jewelry store.
Carla's eyes widened.
Marcelo's jaw dropped. The other customers discreetly moved closer to get a better look. "Let's see," Dona Helena said calmly, placing the bars on the counter. "Each bar is 50 grams of 24-karat gold. At today's rate, each one is worth approximately 4,200 Brazilian reals. One bar already covers the cost of the set, but since you don't give discounts..." She paused, allowing the tension to build in the air. Junior approached, fascinated. He had studied precious metals in his technical course and immediately recognized the bar's authenticity. "These bars are real," he whispered to Marcelo.
"Look at the seals, the color, the weight."
Marcelo was visibly nervous now. His arrogance had turned into embarrassment. "Madam, We weren't questioning your ability to pay.
No.
Donna Helena said, raising an eyebrow. Because that's exactly what you did. You judged me by my appearance and decided I couldn't afford to shop in this store. Carla tried to recover. It was a misunderstanding, madam. Of course, we can discuss the price. Now you want to discuss the price? Donna Helena asked. Interesting how quickly things change. The well-dressed couple who had been watching approached. The man, clearly impressed, said, "Excuse me for intruding, but those bars are magnificent."
Are you a collector?
Donna Helena smiled for the first time since she had entered the store. My late husband worked for 40 years as a goldsmith. He always said gold is the only currency that never loses value. We saved some bars over the years, for special moments. And my granddaughter's wedding is a special moment, she continued. That's why I came here, to the city's most traditional jewelry store, expecting to be treated with the respect any customer deserves. Marcelo was sweating now. He knew that a single one of those bars was worth more than many of the pieces in the display case. Madam, I sincerely apologize. It was a terrible mistake on our part. It was indeed, Donna Helena agreed. But now I'm going to do the following. I will pay exactly what you asked for.
3,200 reais.
Only I won't be paying with common cash. She picked up one of the smaller bars and placed it on the counter. This bar is worth exactly 3,200 Brazilian reals at today's rate. You can check. Junior, who had pulled out his phone to check the gold price, confirmed, "That's correct, Mr. Marcelo. 50 grams of pure gold at 64 Brazilian reals per gram is exactly 3,200 Brazilian reals." "But madam," Carla tried, "we don't have change in gold." "Who said anything about change?" Donna Helena said.
The price is exact.
And I'm not asking for a discount, remember? You made sure to make that very clear. The situation had become completely embarrassing for the employees. Other customers began to comment among themselves, some clearly disapproving of how the lady had been treated initially. An elderly woman who was choosing a ring said loud enough for everyone to hear, "How rude! Judging people by their appearance like that." Marcelo realized the situation was getting out of control and that the store's reputation was at stake. "Madam, please accept our apologies. We can offer a 20% discount on the set." "No, thank you," Donna Helena said firmly. "You were very clear. You don't give discounts. I will respect the store's policy." She took the gold bar and handed it to Marcelo. "There's the payment. Exact, as you requested." Junior, who had watched the entire scene with growing admiration for the lady, stepped forward. "I'll pack the set with great care for you." As he prepared the package, Donna Helena calmly put the other gold bars back into her purse. The weight and value of what she carried there easily surpassed the stock of many of the display case pieces.
By the way, she said, addressing Marcelo, my husband left a small collection.
I have some more bars at home, as well as old gold coins and some precious stones. I was thinking of selling some pieces, but I think I'll look for a jewelry store where customers are treated with respect, regardless of their appearance. The impact of her words was immediate. Marcelo realized he had lost not only a significant sale, but potentially many others. A client with a collection of gold and precious stones was exactly the kind of person any jeweler would want to have. Carla attempted one last approach. "Madam, perhaps we could discuss your other pieces. We have expertise in appraisal." "I'm sure you do," Donna Helena said, taking the package from Junior's hands. "But expertise without manners isn't worth much, don't you think?" Junior, clearly embarrassed by his colleague's behavior, said, "Madam, may I give you my card? If you need anything, or want a second opinion on your pieces, I can recommend some serious professionals."
Donna Helena smiled at the young man.
"You're different from your colleagues. Thank you for your kindness." She headed for the door, but before leaving, she turned one last time. "You know, when you work with gold for so long, you learn to distinguish what's real from what's just appearance. True gold doesn't need a luxurious display case to show its value. And true people don't either." With those words, Donna Helena left the jewelry store, leaving behind embarrassed employees and other customers impressed by what they had witnessed. Outside, she smiled. thinking of the expression her granddaughter would make upon receiving the gift. The pearls were beautiful, but the lesson she had just given was worth far more than any jewelry. The next day, the story would spread through the city. Junior would end up resigning a week later, getting a job at a competing jewelry store. Marcelo and Carla would receive a formal warning from the owners, who learned of the incident through other customers.
And Donna Elena?
She found a family-owned jewelry store a few blocks away, where she was received with full respect and courtesy, regardless of her simple appearance. There, she sold 3 gold bars and bought a beautiful vintage engagement ring to complete her granddaughter's gift. Sometimes, the most valuable lessons come wrapped in packages we don't expect.